Alright, look at the next page, 30. Okay, tengok pada orthogonal vectors. Okay, the definition dalam kotak tu. The two vectors A and B are orthogonal to each other if and only if vector A times vector B is equal 0. Okay, that means if you calculate vector A, times vector B, you get 0. Okay, that means these two vectors A and B, is orthogonal to each other. What is mean by orthogonal to each other? Orthogonal means that it is perpendicular to each other. Okay, if you calculate vector A times vector B, you get 0. Then vector A is perpendicular to vector B. Okay, they are perpendicular to each other. Alright, itu maksud dia. You faham nah? So, look at example 11. Example 11 show that, okay, dia bagi value for x, y, z. Okay, so saya letkan ni sebagai vector A. Okay, first one, vector A is perpendicular to vector B. Okay, ni saya letkan dia sebagai vector B. Okay, so show that vector A is perpendicular to vector B. So, macam mana kita nak show that these two vectors are perpendicular? Then you have to times, do a multiplication of the vector. So, vector A times vector B is equal 0. Sorry. Okay, dia bagi vector A sini. 2i plus 2j minus k, and vector B is 5i minus 4j plus 2k. Okay, so this is vector A and B. Are they is perpendicular to each other? So we have to find. Okay, that means do a multiplication. Vector A times dengan vector B is equal 0. So vector A is 2, 2, negative 1 times vector B 5, negative 4, 2. Okay, and then calculate 2 times 5, you get 10, plus 2 times negative 4, you get negative 8, plus negative 1 times 2, you get negative 2 is equal 0. So negative 8 minus 2, you get negative 10. So 10 minus 10, is it 0? So 10 minus 10, you get 0. So that means vector A and B are perpendicular to each other. Okay, awak boleh describe kat bawah tu. Okay, vector A and vector B is perpendicular to each other. Alright. And then, look at the next page. Example 12. Find the value of lambda for which this vector is perpendicular. Okay, yang ni pun saya letkan sebagai vector A. First vector ni saya letkan sebagai vector A, second ni sebagai vector B. Okey, apa simbol yang kat tengah ni? Simbol dia perpendicular. Okey, simbol yang kat tengah ni adalah perpendicular. Okey, so find the value of lambda. So, bila kita tahu vector A and B ni perpendicular to each other, then terus guna formula dia. Vector A times vector B is equal 0. Okey. Allahu Akbar. Maaf. Okay, vector A is equal 3i minus lambda j plus k. And then vector B is equal I plus 2j. Okay, this is the two vectors for A and B. So, dia bagi tahu kat situ vector A and B are perpendicular. So, vector A times vector B is equal 0. Terus guna konsep ni. Okay, sebab apa? Bila guna konsep ni, that means they are perpendicular to each other. So, vector A is 3 negative lambda 1. So, 3 negative lambda 1. Okay, soalan minta find the value of lambda, right? So vector B is times 1, 2 only. Okay, dia tak ada value of Z. It's okay. Alright, so 3 times 1, you get 3 plus negative lambda times 2, you get negative 2 lambda. Okay, and then 1 times, okay, for value of Z tak ada kan for vector B. So 1 times 0, you get 0. Okay, so negative 2 lambda, bawa sebelah dia akan jadi positif. So 3 is equal to lambda. Okay, kita nak cari lambda dia. So lambda 2 ni bawa sebelah dia akan jadi 3/2. So this is the answer. Lambda is equal 3/2. Alright. You faham now? Okay, and then next. Kat bawah tu ada definition. The two vectors A and B are parallel if the angle between them is 0. And then the second one, the two vectors A and B are orthogonal if the angle between them is pi/2. Okay. So that means, maksud dia yang tu, maksud dia, for two vectors A and B, okay, yang first tu, they are parallel if the angle between them is 0. Okay, kalau lah ada soalan bagi tahu, that means, first tu, dia akan bagi tahu, vectors A and vectors B tu, they are parallel if, okay, they are parallel if the angle is 0 or you get pi. Sorry. Okay. Tu yang the first one. Okay. If the two vectors A and B are parallel. Parallel tu apa maksud dia? Selari. Okay. Dia selari. Dia sama. Dia selari. Okay. If these two vectors are parallel, then the angle is equal 0 or pi. Okay. And then the second one, the two vectors A and B. Okay. Kalau tengok pada notes awak yang kat sini ni. Kotak kat bawah ni. Okay. The two vectors A and B are orthogonal if the angle between them is pi/2. Yang number 2 tu. So, if the two vectors, let's say this is vector A and then this is vector B. If the two vectors are perpendicular, okay, ataupun orthogonal. Orthogonal tu same meaning with perpendicular. So, if these two vectors are orthogonal, if the angle is pi/2 or 90 degree. Okay. So, kalau contoh ni, kalau ada soalan, dia tanya tentang, look at example 30 ni. Okay. Show that the vectors A and B are parallel. Macam mana kita nak show that vector A and B ni are parallel? So, you have to find the angle. Sebab apa? Sebab dia dah bagi hint kat atas ni, the two vectors A and B are parallel if the angle is 0. So, you have to find the angle first. Kalau awak dapat angle tu 0, that means vector A and B yang example 30 ni are parallel to each other. Okay, they are parallel. Okay. Macam mana nak cari angle dia? Using formula ni lah. Okay, yang sebelum ni yang saya ajar. Cos theta is equal. Okay, using formula. Cos theta is equal vector A times vector B over the length of vector A times dengan the length of vector B using this formula. Okay, to find the angle. Okay, ataupun ada soalan lain, if show that the vector A is perpendicular to vector B. So, then you have to find the angle. Dapat tak pi/2? Okay, kalau dapat pi/2, yes, the vectors of A is perpendicular to vectors of B. Macam tu. Alright? Boleh faham dah setakat ni?